Kala Pani. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are the string of small islands just north of Sumatra. The northern cluster is known as the Andamans and the southern as Nicobar. The name Andaman derives from the Malay pronunciation of Hanuman. The islands were a Danish colony in the early 18th century and passed into British hands by the end of the century. As early as 1789, the East India Company recognized the possibility of using one of the islands as a penal colony for convicts from the Indian mainland. However, the settlement was abandoned after just 7 years because of high mortality rates among both prison and prisoner guards. It was only after the revolt of 1857 that the British revisited the idea of creating a penal settlement in the island. Hundreds of rebels were sent there. Many would be hanged, while most others would die from diseases caused by unserenity. Living conditions in an intensely hot and humid colony came to known as Kala Pani, as the Black Waters. At the beginning of the 20th century, there were 12,000 convicts scattered across the islands. The cellular jail. In the 19th century, convicts were kept in a number of scattered settlements. However, it was decided that those deemed the most dangerous would be locked up in a single large facility in Port Blair. Completed in 1906, the huge cellular jet derived its name from the individual 13 by 6 and 7 by 6 cells arranged in a row along 7 radials. When the radials met, there was a central watchtower from which the guards could observe the prisoners. The cellular jail soon became the preferred place to send political prisoners deemed too dangerous to execute or imprison on the mainland. This included Barin Ghosh, Ulaskar Dutt, Vinayak Savarkar, Ganesh Savarkar and others. From 1915, Gadharite leaders such as Sachindra Nath Sanyal were also sent here. Several survivors have left vivid accounts of horrifying conditions inside the facility. What turned life in the cellular jail into a living hell was the daily rigmarole designed to constantly humiliate the physically torment and convict. The main meal was made of ganji, boiled rice, stirred from a gooey porridge. It had no salt and entirely tasteless. The prisoners were sometimes given roti that were enough as leather, served with watery dal and half-cooked vegetables. The food often had insects and worms, and the half-cooked vegetables were not easy to digest. Any complaint was brutally punished and resulted in all food being withdrawn for days. So almost all the prisoners suffered frequently from abdominal pain and diarrhea. It was not common to find a prisoner passed out in his cell in his own excrement. The prisoners were accepted to work during the day. Two kinds of tasks were commonly given. The first was coir rope making. The prisoners had to use their bare hands to strip out the coir fiber, pound it to soften it, and then braid it into rope. Each prisoner was expected to produce a minimum of 3 pounds of rope every day. Hard as it was considered better than the task of turning kolu, oil mill. This required enormous strength and stamina, especially since it was done in the blazing tropical sun. Even a sip of water was not provided. The wardens used sticks and whips to ensure compliance. However, if they wanted to break a mentally strong prisoner, they used fetters.